47, and today our theme of exploration, timelines. Before we begin this video, we should discuss why you are seeing this video. All the events you have encountered or will encounter, people you have met or will meet throughout your life, no matter how significant or not, were all etched into timelines you chose to navigate into or through by the core frequency you held at any given point. All the most significant moments, life-changing events, no matter good, bad or ugly, were works of the timelines which you could have avoided but chose to experience as per various factors such as your beliefs, your soul's choices, soul agreements, etc. The reason you are seeing this video is also the reason you come across any video or event or opportunity or person in life, the result of the frequency you hold within, decided by your soul agreements for this lifetime, manifesting as goals and checkpoints and experiences in your timelines. How much of this video you experience is going to be relevant to your future timelines, whatever you manifest, based on your core beliefs and frequency, given the wide range of diversity in choices on how we can live a day in our life. 80% of humanity, instead of living an incredibly diverse lifestyle, ends up living almost the same day for most of their life. In other words, most of humanity, instead of living 60 to 70 wonderfully vibrant years, ends up living the same year on repeat for most of their life. Yet still, they are mostly not to blame due to how dense consciousness is within most parts of the third dimensional matrix. Without knowing there's a better way to do something, it's hard to choose something or believe in something unfamiliar. You can only choose a different flavor of ice cream if you know there is one. The problem lies in finding what you feel like is the best ice cream so far, and believing there can be no better without trying to look for it. Sometimes we are stuck with the same ice cream all our life in order to avoid the risk of putting in the effort to find one better and not finding it in the first try. For such is the way of life here in the third dimensional matrix. It's the believing part that becomes the hardest burden to overcome. Believing in something unfamiliar, not realizing that most of what we know was unfamiliar at some point. Given the fact we start everything from a blank slate at birth, but once human beings can believe that there can be something better, and unless they go out looking for it, they're probably not going to find it. It becomes easier to manifest newer and better things in life. This happens through the switching of timelines by changing the core frequency of being. The true art of alchemy lies in constantly believing that there's a different choice we can make than what we have always made, and sooner or later, something better or newer will manifest through a timeline shift. Shifting timelines are the best way to unlock the infinite potential every scope of life holds within it, and plays an essential role in the expansion of your soul consciousness. We begin. Timelines are what holds the matrices or matrixes, set of events and experiences that you can encounter as an incarnate soul in these lower dimensions of physical reality. Hence, if you are experiencing life on Earth in the years between 1523 and 1579, you cannot entertain the idea of becoming an astronaut, or experience living in a room full of LED lights, or talking to someone in Thailand from England over the telephone. Your dress code or fashion, and what you eat, how you spend your average day in the year 2019 will be very different than when you were living in the years 1253, 256, 1745, and 2089 AD, all thanks to timelines and what they hold. Ever wonder why certain people seem to disappear from your life with time. Certain people that were friends in the past, certain people that were family at some point, certain co-workers, certain close relationships are not there anymore around you. You keep wondering what happened to them once in a while, and not until it's brought up by something or someone. You shifted into different timelines due to belief systems, your soul's agreements, and other factors deciding what your frequency is. You can only find things, events, and people in your timelines that reflect or match your frequency. If you are stuck in a certain bad situation, such as economic, social, or political chaos, imagine it to be a room you are stuck with several other people under certain agreements from various dimensions. Timelines can be considered to be doors out of these rooms to other rooms with much better outcomes, and some rooms with outcomes even worse. Hopefully, this will help you find the doors to better rooms you cannot see, in case if you are stuck in one. What are timelines and where do they exist? Timelines are consciousness, crystallized as frequency-based sequence of events held within the oversoul realm, within the fourth dimension, projected into the third dimension, for experience of a chain of events as per a certain theme. A single incarnate soul or a collective of incarnate souls might have made an agreement on experiencing within a lifetime. Without time, there are no timelines, hence timelines mostly exist within the fourth dimension, the dimension of time. Timelines are sets of possibility sequences, given the choice of exploration and experience of a certain collective in the third dimensional matrix. These carry coefficients of the time variable, and hence all features are bound to be affected by the dimension of time. Timelines are not fixed paths, but parallel realities that we shift through billions of times per second based on our vibration, beliefs, emotions, and choices, etc. All time and timelines exist here and now, for there is nothing but here and now in the universe. Timelines and the Oversoul. Your unique timeline is your consciousness shifting through a multitude of parallel realities coexisting in the now in a sequential fashion, creating your so-called life path. Whatever the next sequence of events is going to be in your timeline is decided by your core frequency, depending on your beliefs, checkpoints, soul agreements, collective agreements with other souls, and oversoul containing various soul groups including yours, etc. There lies a multitude of exit points as and when necessary throughout the timeline for you to choose from. Timelines are available for exploration as per the oversoul agreements that your soul is part of. When the light bulb will be discovered, one timeline for everyone on Gaia's timeline is decided by all souls from an oversoul perspective. When they decide enough of this darkness, souls can decide, let's explore religion, and religion will be created, space exploration will start, etc. America will be discovered when on an oversoul level Gaia Collective decides we have explored enough of Europe, Africa and Asia, and new timelines will unlock over time based on that event. Timelines on Earth from 500 BC to 1300 AD will not have computers or radio or smartphones, unlike timelines between 1960 AD to 2045 AD. What mysteries, inventions should be revealed now and what shouldn't be, and also to which collective it must be revealed and to which collective it shouldn't be, since they are not ready for it. All of these decisions are observed from an oversoul perspective. Mysteries are frequency blocks in timelines that doesn't match the core frequency of any collective. Once it does, the mystery unlocks. Oversouls chooses the themes as and when they become relevant for a collective to experience through the manufacturing of events such as discovery and invention. If, from an oversoul level, a collective chooses to not experience life inert, in fear of dinosaurs or as dinosaurs, an extinction level event can be manifested therein through comet shower or other natural calamities, and the whole timeline shifts into a different reality. Once a collective's oversoul has completely explored everything in a theme it needs to explore through a collective effort and no longer feel the need to explore any of it, a collective choice is made to shift or ascend into a different timeline through mutual agreement by choosing timelines that are more representative of their higher versions that already exist. This can manifest as end of ice age, end of candles, through the invention of electricity, invention of computers, penicillin, vaccines, aeroplane, space travel, etc. Several timelines exist within your life path. Your timeline may contain a theme of you going from A to B, but that timeline contains millions of smaller subset of timelines of how you will get there, and it will be dependent on your beliefs, actions, decisions, as per your freedom of choice. Timelines are infinite and fluid. There isn't one fixed future. You're constantly choosing from infinite probable futures. Every choice, belief, and emotional state shifts you to a different timeline within the set of timelines your soul has chosen for you in this lifetime. That's why changing your state of being now can seemingly alter what's coming. Hence, nobody can actually predict the future as long as there's the factor of freedom of choice. But higher dimensional beings can foresee a probable future depending on the overall chain of events and flow of intention or energy of a certain collective. Timelines are frequencies, a vibrational version of reality. A timeline isn't a line at all, it's a frequency band. Every possible version of you and your reality already exists in its own unique frequency within the timeline your soul has incarnated in or projected its consciousness onto. As you change your frequency, you are literally shifting into a new timeline that matches that state. You jump timelines by shifting your vibration. This is why changing your belief system can literally alter your future and even your relationship to the past. This is also why shifting to newer timelines can make you not being able to relate with older versions of you from your so-called past. As the name may suggest, timelines are a seemingly linear set of time frames within a certain period of time within the third dimensional matrix, which when observed by a soul's projection through its incarnated self, creates a linear sequence of events within its lifetime. If a life can be represented by the reel of a whole movie or film, timelines are the sequence of the scenes or frames of shots that you can see on the film reel. The soul first chooses to project a lifetime, depending on the set of challenges or major events it has subscribed itself to. A set of timelines become available from the innumerable timelines within the oversoul projection that the soul is part of. An oversoul contains all lives a set of soul will ever incarnate as, and the Gaia oversoul contains all souls incarnated within the Gaia. Timelines are not linear paths you passively travel through. They're parallel versions of reality that you actively shift between, moment to moment, based on your vibration. You're shifting between billions of time frames of reality within a certain set of timelines every second. Each shift is so smooth and seamless that it creates the illusion of one continuous reality in your observed life. Higher dimensional beings can shift at 5 to 10 times faster than human beings. Knowing who they are and what they need, and trusting what their higher self brings forth in their timeline makes them hyper-alchemists. What you call cause and effect is often just your awareness shifting into the version of reality where a different outcome already exists, thereby giving you the impression of an effect to a cause. Timelines are not fixed. The future is not written in stone, it's written in sand, until you bring them to your present. There is no single destiny. There are infinite probable futures, outcomes, or destinies. You align with a specific version of the future based on your state of being right now. Change your belief and you begin shifting into a different version of your life. If you wish to see a different reality, you have to change your own vibration or frequency. Until you change, your reality can't reflect the change. How can you choose a timeline of preference? The best way to switch timelines and get on the ones that suits best for your soul's need would be to follow and act on your highest excitement with no insistence on outcome, to the best of your ability at any given point. This shifts you to timelines that are more resonant with your soul's blueprint and its desired manifestations. This will also ensure great synchronicity, peace, and expansion, moving you towards your true path without resistance, and discover more of who you really are. Keeping this approach will also help you trigger synchronicities like a true alchemist, wherein you will be given signs of all sorts, and when necessary, without any delay, by your spirit guides, higher selves, soul groups, angelic guides, and other higher dimensional beings who can access various elements on your timelines. You have just to be aware of all the help, guidance, and signs you are getting all the time. On an average, we in the fifth-dimensional Earth timelines get around 10 to over 100 signs from our guides to help us shift and stay in higher vibrational timelines in a day. This is the case with everyone else, except in the third dimension. Since most people don't know of this mechanism, they don't look for the signs, and henceforth they don't find it either. That shoelace that came undone, and because of which you missed the bus that ended up in an accident, was your guides. That ad you saw on the road that reminded you of your appointment was your guide. That person you saw on the road that reminded you of someone and unfinished business that you need to tend to was your guide. They can play around with things, people, events, and orchestrate various seemingly natural events to keep you in your highest timelines. All you have to do is acknowledge and act on them. Another thing that might also come in handy during timelines switch is your imagination. More you use your imagination, more timelines open up for you, depending on how many future events you can imagine from any given point. A secondary factor to be utilized along with the imagination being the loss of ego or detachment from old or normal beliefs and practices that are parts of your ego. Being able to deviate from the usual norms and beliefs and practices will always help you imagine much more scenarios from others' perspective, whom you cannot imagine yourself as, unless you are willing to let go of your own ego or sense of self. A side note to keep in mind: no matter what you think your future should be like, and even though every feature you can think of yourself already exists, if it is not in alignment with your soul's needs or deviates you from them, you may not be able to manufacture certain events. Even though everyone wants to be a millionaire, some souls take on the challenge of manifesting a better life with other forms of abundance than money. If a soul knows, given the projection template it's holding in this lifetime, becoming a millionaire will deviate them from their future life goals or drive them down darker, unnecessary paths. They won't manifest in such events in the lifetimes despite the desires, mostly influenced by the third-dimensional matrix beliefs. If something is in your timeline now, you have to realize why your higher self manifested it in the first place. No matter how good, bad, or ugly it is, realizing the reason behind things on your timeline now will always help you manifest newer timelines faster. Being unable to appreciate what is present on your timeline will only get in the way of any better timeline manifestation, since all timelines reflect your current state of being and frequency. Changing your state becomes easier when you are able to let go of what is, which happens faster when you realize the essence of what is. Whatever it is you are facing, you have to realize the potential it brings for your growth through experience and why you manifested it. Key points to remember. You are shifting timelines right now. Every thought and emotion matters in that mechanism of shifting. The more aligned your vibration is with who you truly are, the more you lock into higher frequency timelines. Being misaligned with your soul purpose, what excites you at any given point, only creates unnecessary streams of timeline that you don't need to venture into. No one is stuck. You are just choosing to believe so, since you cannot realize that the change or shift has to come from within by switching to a new belief system. You are constantly choosing a similar and familiar frequency of vibration for yourself, and thereby creating a similar outcome of reality. You always have the power to shift by shifting your state of being. Why and how alchemists and other high-frequency beings switch timelines like it's nobody's business. The alchemists are the best operators of timelines, which makes them the most knowledgeable in terms of how to navigate timelines. Utilizing timelines, alchemists can manifest whatever they wish to in the most efficient of ways. They can also use it to live multiple lives within one lifetime. Some of the highest degrees of alchemists can go through a few different lives in a day or a week, using the power of the switch to shift timelines. Why the switch timelines? More timelines they switch means more experiences and more upgrades to their soul in terms of growth through experience and change. Imagine a soccer, football, hockey, cricket or baseball match which happens within a limited time. How many runs or goals you score decides how much you upgrade and what your future reality may look like. Your life is this limited scope of the soul's projection within the lifetime. The more experiences you can gather, the more the growth or expansion of the soul. Timelines for an alchemist are 10 to 50 times more in number than an average being's, since they conjure multiple scenarios all at once through the power of the switch. Your ability to switch timelines depends solely on, number 1, being able to accept there are way more timelines than what they can see. Number 2, being able to see them before they move on to them. Number 3, being able to identify which belief systems, thought patterns, etc. they need to change their frequency and how to change them. Alchemists believe there are always a multitude of scenarios or futures to every given situation, and they use their imagination to not stay stuck on one scenario of what could happen, but rather keep switching through a multitude of scenarios that could happen given everything and everyone in the equation. As per that, they can come up with a multitude of decisions leading into them as well. In other words, they often manifest more options of possible scenarios and decisions that they can take in order to manifest the best outcome they need. Being able to change their belief systems more flexibly and seamlessly comes in handy, since without the change of belief systems, this switch is technically impossible in every aspect. Most human beings end up picturing a few scenarios or situations or few decisions, and hence can only unlock a few timelines due to their inability to believe that more can be possible. Alchemists can let go of their old habits, beliefs, people they're around, lifestyle, etc. very quickly due to lack of strong ego attachment to old things, people, habits, thought patterns and events in life, and perform something called a quantum leap, where within a few days they become a new person with new work, habit, belief, practices, lifestyle, preferences, choices, etc., which can throw off a lot of people by turning them into a complete stranger from someone familiar within a matter of days. Each timeline has a version of you. When you match the frequency of that you in that timeline through actions, choices, beliefs, emotions, thought process, etc., you shift to that timeline. You cannot experience what you are not in frequency of. This is also why certain people opportunities, experiences, and events come to your life at certain points and also go away. You cannot experience what you are not in the frequency of. You cannot listen to what's playing in 91.3 FM if you're tuned into 96.3 FM. Same way, you cannot see a red image wearing blue colored glasses due to mismatch of frequency of light. Between each checkpoint to the other, there can be a set of 100,000 to a billion timelines, all available to explore by you, or other forms of you, or other versions of you using similar projection templates. Even if you veer off too far from your soul's purpose, your soul can choose an appropriate exit point and manifest similar life goals through a different timeline exploration available to it. A fifth dimensional perspective on fourth dimensional timelines. Number 1. Infinite parallel realities. Your reality is made of infinite parallel versions of Earth, as projected by the Oversoul you are part of, and your own soul's projection within it. Each moment, you shift to a new timeline that matches your frequency. You don't move through time, you shift through frames like a film strip. Time is what you feel as the product of this movement. Number 2. Vibration determines your timeline. Your core vibrational frequency acts like a radio tuner. You attract and move to timelines that match that vibration. Change your belief, change your frequency, shift to a new reality. This is how you shift your reality, whatever it is. Number 3. Timelines are not linear. There's no single future, there are many probable futures. You constantly shift to the version of Earth that reflects your inner state. The future is not set. It's selected by your state of being in the present. Number 4. Collective timelines. Humanity also has collective timelines. Global shifts reflect the mass consciousness. Global timelines shift with any major events or tower moments. By raising your own vibration, you shift to a more aligned collective version of Earth. Number 5. No timeline is better. All timelines serve a purpose in the soul's evolution. Negative timelines teach contrast. Positive ones reflect alignment with your higher self. To experience the reality you prefer, act like you're already in it. Your belief and emotion determine your timeline shift. By becoming aware of your beliefs, emotions, and choices, you can consciously shift into timelines that reflect your highest excitement and preferred version of life. Every now is a new now to generate a new reality for yourself, and each one is equally precious and potent, since each carries trillions of possible outcomes for you as per anything you are capable of choosing. Alchemists tend to choose wisely by realizing this as the truth, and also realizing each moment could be the last, yet still they have nothing to worry, since souls are infinite, and what's meant for them shall not pass them by. If you look at the picture, it gives you an overview on your relationship with your timelines as manifested by your soul. Matt's higher self or higher mind can also see the future timelines, but not as much as the soul. Matt's timeline, no matter how many they are, will never expand beyond the planet's collective timeline. Examples of how timelines work. Say two friends, A and B, meet at an event. They're both on the same Oversoul timeline, holding their two different individual timelines within it, from their higher self's perspective. A shop gives one free donut per group. Now both are hungry in their timelines. They both decide to have the experience of synchronicity, where they get the food. In A's timeline, B will say, "I'm not hungry." and A will get the food. And in the other timeline, A might say, I already ate, and B will get the food. Both the timelines are part of the same timeline, and both friends will manufacture their own realities that are different but similar in its nature and effect. And it will happen only as long as the souls decide to take part in it. Such is the nature of your reality. Most events happen like this. These are two timelines in the fifth dimension, since the results are synchronistic and positive in their outcomes in the long run. Even though negative events may appear on fifth dimensional timelines, they will always lead to positive events in the long run. There are several other timelines of the same nature in the fourth and fifth dimensions mixed together in one timeline that souls are exploring together here on Earth. Which timeline they experience will be decided by their soul agreements, assignments, core beliefs, and collective choices. All major timelines being traversed by collectives of souls here on Earth or any other planet, such as social life in Thailand between 1915 and 1950, or pandemic life in Taiwan in 2020, or life during the Civil War for people in North America, all having their own set of unique events, features, circumstances, experiences, etc. are decided by planetary collectives from an oversoul level through resonance and mutual agreements. Higher beings can interfere with timelines in cases of anomalies arising due to the freedom of choice factor, since they have more vision and hence more control of the timelines. If certain events can diverge or redirect timelines into directions not in alignment with the oversoul agreements, they can tweak certain events for the best outcome in their own ways. Hence, even if certain incarnate beings may wish to go back from Earth, living their life, they may come back through near-death experiences in order to keep certain timelines from branching out in unnecessary directions. However, these interventions are barely noticed by beings in the third dimension. Timelines and astrology. Once you start reading the planets, their history in astrology and events on Earth, you can get a better perspective of how the Gaia Collective is choosing its timelines, and what they're choosing can become much more transparent, and everything that happened and will happen, you can start to envision or will start making much more sense of, and henceforth, your timeline progress can become much more sensible and higher dimensionally aligned with your soul's choice of exploring the timelines. Planetary motions and celestial events reflect various aspects of timelines if you know what to look for and are good with identifying patterns. Everything you have experienced or will experience ever, or anyone else will, exist here and now. Timelines are our way of experiencing all there is, one thing at a time, to realize their essence. Knowing a story is not the same as reading or watching it unravel in terms of experience. Dimensions, frequencies, and timelines. When you look at a sphere from the top, it can look like a circle, a two-dimensional item compared to its true third-dimensional nature. But when you identify it as a 2D thing, the possibilities of rolling aren't there. But the moment you realize it as a third-dimensional object, as in a sphere, suddenly you become conscious of its abilities to roll around, and a whole set of possibilities opens up for it. This is also how, once you go into higher dimensions and embody higher frequencies, more possibilities and whole new timelines open up just due to perspective shift. On a separate note, when you meet beings from higher dimensions, your frequency changes as well due to proximity effect, and timelines shift. Also, the reason you feel a different way when you are in church than when you are in the market. You feel hot next to a fire and cold next to an iceberg. Decisions and choices are energetic catalysts of timeline shifts. How much you shift and onto which timeline will always be a product of your choices, including what you choose to believe. Shifting to higher frequency makes it less time-consuming to manifest a version of you far away in the timeline. Major life events are checkpoints to navigate through timeline shifts, and are high energy frames in your life's timelines. Switching to a higher frequency, like when you are connected with your higher self through love, joy, intuition, passion, etc., will open up more imagination and more timelines for you. Remember, your higher mind can access and see past, present, and future timelines. Various versions of art projection already exist on various timelines. 3D, 4D, and 5D art timelines manifest as per whatever the core frequency of the collective is. A collective core frequency shift causes timeline shifts much faster than through an individual effort. Items on parallel timelines can be accessed by anyone interdimensionally through connections with their parallel selves, oversoul in other concurrent lifetimes, once they raise their vibration. This is also another aspect of what is known as channeling. If you ever wondered, why does someone's song today sound like someone else's at a different, or why does someone's movie or story sounds like someone else's from the past, even though they never met each other or knew of each other's existence? Now you know why. There are infinite number of parallel realities, but only a finite amount of timelines relevant to the theme you're exploring. Souls part of the same oversoul team can affect each other's timelines through dreams or lucid dreams as well by connecting with their higher selves or parallel selves. Your parallel incarnation from one planet or a very distant future timeline on the same planet can connect with you to cause an effect on your timeline if you let it as well. Your higher self and timelines. Your higher self can see all timelines available in front of you. The trick is to keep acting on anything you are excited about. Since excitement is the energetic signal, your higher self sends you to navigate into better and better timelines as your soul path requires. Earth's 3D, 5D timeline shift. Without an understanding of the timelines, what they are, and the 3D, 5D split happening in Gaia right now, it will become harder and harder to navigate into better timelines, not realizing there are always better timelines with better outcomes available in the now. As we move forward from the year 2020 all the way till 2050, a minor portion of humanity will take more and more positive decisions and choose more positive beliefs and way of living, thereby bringing forth a stream of higher dimensional timelines into reality, which will soon merge and stream that collective of humanity into the fifth dimensional timeline of Gaia. Many of us are already experiencing life on 5-dimensional Earth, but it hasn't become a collective phenomenon yet. Two sets of collective of timelines will slowly start diverging as they proceed towards third and the fifth dimension, slowly separating from each other until events, beings, and people from one set of timelines won't be able to see anything from the other set of timelines anymore. And that concludes our today's exploration. Our gratitude for your participation in the ascension journey of humanity. Feel free to like and subscribe to find similar videos in the future. Check out our videos from the Universe Unlocked series in the description. Comment here if you need more clarity on anything. Search for any specific topic that might interest or concern you. And remember to keep exploring. Until next time, 47, logging out.